Hello everyone and welcome to the second annual Heart of the Chains. It's going to be presented by Van Man Discs and driven by Innova Champion Discs. My name's Christian and I'm here in the booth with my good buddy Evan.
Hey, what's going on everybody?
We're going to be bringing you guys over here to Rotary Park in Huntington, West Virginia. Normally really beautiful, but as you can see right now, it's probably not the best weather.
February in the tri-state area is usually crazy weather anyway.
Oh, absolutely. So we're dealing with some rain, but we've got a good card ahead of us. We've got Johnny Sias here, sponsored by Innova Champion Discs. Johnny's got a very illustrious career, over 85 wins, including multiple world championships. Got Mr. Thaddeus Stambaugh here, sponsored by Van Man Disc, coming in with 3 career wins.
Another local, Ian Johnson, he actually has 4 career wins to his name.
Yeah, Ian's super good. Got a lot of potential and upside in the sport. Super excited to see him out on coverage.
Ryan Shumate, he's from Beckley, West Virginia, and he's got 15 career wins. Looking to make for another one today.
Definitely look for him to start making a push once we get out into the open over on Rotary. But yeah, it's always interesting getting a lefty on the card. So let's get over here to hole 1. We're starting off the Indian Rock course here in Rotary Park with a 400-foot par 4 going straight down this alleyway. Now, this thing is super tilted from like right to left, so if you leak left, you're gonna find yourself way down this hill.
Yeah, this is such a narrow hallway to get to this disc, and then at the very end of the hallway it actually cuts up into the right. You really have no airspace to play with, so...
Yeah, and that's saying something because this fairway is about as open as it's ever been. I've had a lot of trees drop in the past handful of years, so it's, you know, it's kind of opened up a lot more. So we'll see Johnny leading us off, and I do believe that is his DX Eagle right there. It's either the Eagle or the Rock. I'm not sure exactly which, but it kind of had that flight to it.
You get more of an appreciation for the narrowness of the hallway when you shoot over that left shoulder there.
Yeah, I kind of repositioned myself on the camera here to put myself in a little better position. Thaddeus also going with the backhand. Forehand's also a really good play here if you have something to stand up straight and then just have a baby fade at the end, kind of eat itself back into the hillside.
The only problem with the righty backhand on this one is if you catch the edge at all, it's gonna jump left really hard. There's so much danger over that hill.
Oh yeah, there is. I think this is a Valkyrie from Ian, and pulled that really early, right into one of those first trees. Very common mistake, however, very fortunate to just kick straight back down. Well, I said I was surprised I wasn't seeing forehands. I guess a lefty backhand's kind of the same. And it looks like with the exception of Ian, who caught that early tree, we're going to see 3 players up in very similar position. I think that is a Splatter Star Destroyer. Some kind of neutral.
That was a fortunate
stable.
Bounce right there.
Very, very fortunate. If that catches just the other side of that tree, he's shooting down the hole too.
You can see Johnny's still wearing that back brace. I think he's still dealing with some back problems and everything. It's making it hard for him to throw anything with any power.
Yeah, Johnny not necessarily a power player. I mean, he to put it in perspective, he won the 1986 Disc Golf World Championships. So he's been doing this for a while. So power is not necessarily his forte anymore. However, super accurate with an absolutely deadly putt. So you see the second player going with a patent pending approach here. Little backhand turnover. Look good, comes up just a little short, but that should be an easy putt.
There's just something about a lefty forehand that
So pretty.
I have never been able to grasp how that works. My left arm will not throw forehand.
Same. I can throw some lefty backhands, but trying
Yeah,
the forehand is just so unnatural. Trying to pick up the birdie there. Good looking putt. That's just so far uphill that I don't think the camera quite gave it justice.
And if you get too far away from the basket here, all of those small vertical-looking saplings in the background, that's called Devil's Walking Stick. It is covered with thorns. The whole tree.
Yeah, it is. It's the vertical tree equivalent of just barbed wire. I've heard it called a lot of things, and Devil's Walking Stick is one of the nicer ones. But these first two holes are just, if you get off the fairway and you find yourself in them, it's kind of rough. So we got Johnny and Thaddeus going quickly, one down. Should be some easy par pickups.
I'm with Ian on that one.
Yeah.
If I can walk away from hole one with a par, I feel like I'm okay.
Yeah, that's not bad. That's really, really not bad there. So we'll go ahead and put a disclaimer out there that I think Mr. Sias might be coming in with a little bit of an advantage over most of the other players in the field, seeing as back in 2008, he designed this course. He's one of the most prolific course designers in the area. He has course design from, oh good lord, all over West Virginia, Ohio, Kentucky.
He's just now putting in a new course that he helped design between him and Andy. They helped design the course down at Carter Caves at the old golf course.
Yeah, he's coming in with a little bit of advantage, but so hole 2, 466 feet. This one's actually a little bit longer, and I will say some of these distances might be just a little bit off. It's hard to get some accurate distances out here going through all the trees, but this one's definitely eagleable. Plays downhill pretty well the entire time. The biggest danger is that road running on the right-hand side the whole way. One kick, overturn, something like that, you're going OB.
And with the angle of the hill, if you catch the edge just right, you're going to roll down that way anyway.
Oh, yeah.
You're just hoping the ditch will stop you before it jumps into the
that ditch
pavement.
actually does really well at catching stuff before you end up out of bounds, but still, not something I really want to play with. No, just pay attention to this right here really well.
I don't think you could have thrown it better. That was an absolutely perfect drive.
That little V gap in those trees is right where you're aiming, and Thaddeus flipped that driver up. I'm not 100% certain what it was, but he flipped it up. I wouldn't be surprised if it's like a Zeus or something. Thaddeus throws a mainly all Discraft bag. But yeah, he just flipped it to perfection. And just laced this thing all the way down there, kind of ate right into that little bit of a bank there in front of the basket. And we didn't mention it on the fly-through, but the basket actually sits on just a little bit of a ridge right there. Bank kind of goes up to it, a little bit of an uphill slope, and then dips back away into kind of a bowl behind it. So if you overshoot the basket on your approach or even your drive, and that was actually a really good kick.
That disc actually listened to his hand signals there.
Yeah, it was really, really good. But if you overshoot the basket, you're going to go a little further than what you might expect and have a little tougher comeback putt. So it looked like that was Ian's zone, trying to chip up, give himself a putt. And honestly, if you're not trying to eagle it, Johnny's in the perfect spot right here. There are some branches kind of overhanging over the road that will get into your head a little bit. He ended up hitting them. So those little low-hanging finger branches, they can reach out and just snag a disc out of the air. Sometimes it'll knock it over into the road. But they're just right where you want to fly the disc. However, if you're only aiming for birdie instead of trying for the eagle, that's actually a perfect shot right there. Keep it low, keep it away from those branches. But where these guys are on this last little hillside, that's right where you want to be. I just don't know if he didn't quite fully commit to it. But that is, really uphill. We're still dealing with some grip issues on the disc. It had just stopped raining. It had been raining all morning. You've seen the umbrellas and the coats on hole 1. Some people are starting to ditch them now. Johnny with that just patented straddle.
That's what we were talking about earlier. Johnny is dangerous when it comes to probably 40 feet in.
Try 70. He is putting discs on metal, anything inside of 70 feet. Like mid-circle 3, he's dangerous. As long as he can see the basket, he's going to find a way to get to it. He's been playing in this area, in the Huntington area, so those Appalachian foothills, the woods, his entire career. Very illustrious, near 50-year career. It's insane to say.
He has been playing disc golf longer than most of the people that are watching our coverage have been alive.
Oh, yeah. So that takes us into the signature hole on the course. Hole 3, this is one of those distances that's not quite accurate. This is as the crow flies to the hole. This is actually going to play closer to 450 to 500-ish.
I don't know, by the time I zigzagged through the bridge trestle on this one, I've probably covered 500 feet.
Probably. So it goes downhill, playing back to the left, and this hole, being the feature hole in the course, goes under this old historic bridge from the 1920s. So it's a 100-year-old bridge, and you mandatory have to go under the bridge.
If you can land anywhere inside that tunnel, it's a fantastic shot. If you can actually skip through the tunnel to where you actually have an approach shot at the basket,
play the lottery.
You definitely.
That's how you draw it up. It is, but it is so much harder, and you can see it here. The angle that you have to hit, you can't leave anything nose up. Johnny arguably, I think, left his disc a little too high, but he's also not throwing with any power, so it's not going to have the power to get over the bridge or hit the wall. It's going to drop before it gets there. But you want to keep the nose angle low because you need to be punching and penetrating forward instead of floating.
And again, the camera doesn't give the actual perspective on how far down you have to get into that bridge trestle.
This is every bit of 50 feet in elevation drop?
Absolutely.
And if there's something about this course that you're going to figure out really quickly, is bring out your billy goat legs, because you're going to be climbing up and down hills the whole time. It's very Idlewild.
And that's just the fairway.
Yeah, that's just the fairway. If you can stay on it. That looked like Ian's zone. Yeah, that was his zone there. Just something overstable, having it out to the right, swinging back to the left. Also looks like that's what we're going to see here as well. It should be another zone shot from Ryan. He's going to leave his a little straighter and a little flatter. But he's going to be fading right into the bridge. Should filter right underneath it. Now, angle is key. So it's going to be extremely lucky. I think that was Johnny's eagle, and he took the worst anti-skip off of that bank.
Yeah, this shot right here is an incredibly difficult shot. The angle he has, he's looking at all bridge corner at the moment.
Lay this up every time. There is no physical way and that's what's going to happen. That went about as good as you could possibly do it, and it still landed on the hillside and rolled all the way down to the creek. It's going to be a fell in there from Ian. He's in a phenomenal spot, and we're going to see Ryan in an even better spot, it looks like. Yeah, especially being lefty. This is
middle of that tunnel,
beautiful.
That's exactly where you want to be.
But unless you have the perfect angle, lay up. Toss into the tunnel, right toward those little steps cut into the hillside, take your four. If you are not in the perfect placement off the tee, take your 4.
If you look over the hill there from the basket where
Johnny's actually on the opposite bank.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was on the opposite side, and we see Thaddeus coming up there as well.
Yeah, where Thaddeus is rolled down in, that creek's probably, that bank itself is probably 25 feet high, just dropping down off into the creek.
25, and it's straight up. You can't see the basket. Terrible, treacherous footing.
Oh, unfortunate.
That would have been a great birdie to pick up to, pull him to even with our leaders. Ian here looking at his birdie. He's in a weird spot right here up against that tree on the downslope. Really kind of taking his time. Not excessive time, but he is taking his time to make sure his feet are solid. And he's got good footing, good grip on the disc. It didn't look that bad, but you just seen where he was taking some steps up.
Well, and he was probably 6 feet below the basket putting up from that spot.
Yeah, 6 to 10. Somewhere in that area, he was looking straight up at the basket. It's, again, one of those, camera doesn't quite do it justice. So we have some par cleanups from the rest of the crew. Looking like Ian picking up a stroke on the card. And actually, let me get him pulled up here. Try a stroke on the field. Only other birdie on this hole was Mr. Evan Jarvis. This one came in as actually relatively difficult. Yeah, actually no. It averaged on par. So, it's a good par 4. But now we're going to be rolling par 3s for the remainder of the course.
Starting I really like hole 4.
Yeah, I do too. I really like this one.
It gives you a chance to put a little bit of power behind something. You just need something with a little bit of finish at the end.
Mm-hmm. Kind of bury up in that hillside.
Yep.
Give yourself a 10, 15 foot putt. It's a good ace run. The tee pad is the biggest negative on this hole.
Broken concrete with gravel all over it.
Yeah, we recently had some construction happen with some new power lines being installed. But, that ended up busting up the tee pad there. So we have something. It's not the best, but it's something.
Yeah, the only danger really on this hole is a deflection off of a tree. Oh, and Johnny absolutely lacing it.
Yep.
That's that beautiful flight with just something that's going to fly straight for that 250 feet uphill and just drop left to the basket.
Looked like his eagle again.
You can kind of see in the background too. There's a little bit of wind today.
Yeah, you're going to hear it once we get up on the hill. It kind of funnels through this valley that we're in.
Oh,
that was a
bounce.
perfect shot, but the anti-skip kind of got him. But still, he's going to be fine. He's up there. He's got a putt. Now, like I was kind of mentioning in the preview, is those first 3 holes are really the feature of the course. Are those first 3 really difficult, long par 4s? Everything from here is going to be right in that sub 300 range. There's only a couple holes over 300 feet for the rest of the course. And all par 3s. So now we're getting into some true woods golf, some technical. Got to be perfect off the tee to try to get the birdies.
There are some very, very narrow lines as you come through this next stretch here.
Oh, yeah. And a couple holes that we're going to see on the back 9 as well that are just crazy. And see, like I said, Thaddeus, even with the anti-skip, he wasn't in any danger. Only thing, if he would have kind of kicked up and went down that hill, then you're left with just pitching up to the basket. Johnny with a nice 10-foot cleanup.
Yeah, once you get up to the basket, it's relatively flat, and then kind of starts carrying over to the next hole there.
Yeah.
This is probably one of the safest holes of the course.
I'd say between that and, like 14? Probably kind of some of those safer ace runs. You got the backstop right behind it.
I really like, I think it is It is hole 14.
Yeah.
You just have the hill just right behind it, like
it's
10 foot behind the basket.
Run.
Just throw something as straight as you can, really hard right at the basket.
Right. So, unfortunately, Ian just dropped that stroke that he got on the hole card on the hole previous, with the rest of us picking up birdies and Ian taking the unfortunate par there from the early kick.
This hole, you cannot see the basket from the tee box, and there are a couple different lines you can take to this hole. If you can throw something straight, there is that right side right down the old logging road where this travels through there, and then to the left you can kind of see right to the left of Johnny there. You can see there's a backhand flex line that can carry you all the way to the basket, and there he goes right down that line.
Unfortunately, this eagle that he has, and he's trying to wheel it back, it just doesn't have the stability that it had in its last life. So I did get the opportunity to talk to Johnny a little bit walking down this fairway. After that, you do have the sucker gap right here, and I call it a sucker gap with love, because if you can hit it, it's perfect, takes you right to the pin. But he said he used to take that, but after a while, and we see Thaddeus with his Luna baby flip up, and whoof, he scared that one. But Johnny told me that over the years he has found more consistency just playing the backhand flex shot. The same shot that Ryan's going to take here with the forehand flex being the lefty. But yeah, he prefers that little flex line. There's a little more
airspace there for sure.
A little more airspace, yeah. And eventually it does kind of feed back, and it keeps you away from that hillside drop-off on the right.
Yeah, I think just to the right of the road there, it just drops almost straight off.
Probably for
40,
50 feet. Yeah. Drop straight down to the road, and you can carry over that road, OB. If you do, just re-tee. Because you're going to be throwing through, you may as well have another chance at the fairway.
Oh, man, a forehand from that gap.
So that's the safe play. You're the only chance for a birdie there is like a 60-foot putt. You know, let your putt earn you the birdie. It's Ryan trying right there.
It's a good tree stop there.
Mm-hmm. But the only thing with the forehand is it's fading toward that.
Towards the hill, yep.
He still tries it, though. And it was a safe run, kind of a little bit of downhill, but going right into that hillside right behind it. Give that a run every time.
Yeah. And
Johnny's eagle just didn't hustle back in time. Otherwise, that was going to be beautiful.
He had the height there.
He did, just really obstructed down there with some really terrible footing. And like I said, this is where Thaddeus ended up. He scared this basket. We were wondering just how close it was. And unfortunately, again, that's twice in 3 holes where he has had the opportunity to pick up some major strokes and just the putts just not falling. Would have been one of only 2 birdies. However, now only birdie on the day going to Sam Cruz. Which, be prepared to kind of hear about him a little more as we keep going. Some foreshadowing there.
This is another one of those narrow hallways we were talking about. The distance is really
manageable.
It's not a hard distance. Most people can throw a putter 200 feet. And, you know, where this drops down over the hill, you get that extra carry. So
it's just, can you control that putter for 230, managing 10-foot gaps the whole way?
Yeah, most people don't forehand a putter that's going to, you know, slightly fall off at the end. So you're going to try and go for that slow,
the baby backhand turnover.
Yeah. Just
something to go straight and then have that really late just drift. Like that. That is Johnny's rock,
at the top of that,
I do believe. Yeah, he's going to be kind of on that little hillside to the left.
It's kind of a death putt a little bit from there. You get a little bit of backstop, and then it drops back over towards the road again.
Yeah. But all in all, not a bad place to be. you're still going to have that putt at it if you want to take it. He's probably going to be, I don't know, maybe just a couple paces outside C1.
A little tree touch there. Oh, a second touch.
I think that's an AVR that he's throwing right there. I do believe that's just an AVR, but I could be mistaken.
He's rolling to see where the basket is.
Everyone here local except for Ryan. Ryan does play here, but not nearly as much as the rest of these guys do. Everyone else being from this area, Ryan from Beckley, good distance further away. And just yanks it a little, and
Wow.
you've seen it. It kept carrying. However, it punched forward as it did. I don't know if it took some secondary and other kicks down there, but it's not going to be quite as bad as you think.
They're never beneficial for me when I see them deflect.
Me
like that.
either. No, typically it just makes it worse. Ian standstill forehand.
Yeah, and he's probably going to be right there above Johnny, maybe a little long.
So yeah, he bit forward, so he's got the thinner stuff to manage now. And it's just that forehand chippy approach. Fantastic tree.
What a
He
tree
was
hit.
sailing that one. He had a clean line at it, and he just left it a little nose up. It was going to sail way past that tree, drops him right beside it. Thaddeus with the birdie attempt, and air balls left. But granted, I'll give him this. He was 45 feet. Good couple paces outside of C1. Ian as well. Johnny here circles edge. Gonna drop that in. Didn't need the chains. Just drops it into the tray. Probably lucky to stay in, but it's in. I'd say no pictures on the scorecard, but we kind of have video evidence. But it's in, and he, well, now that we know it's none of the other guys on our card, one of only 2 birdies on the field. Himself and Mark Collins. This hole came in, I think it averaged par. Yeah, average par, 2 birdies, 2 bogeys.
Yeah, if you can throw a putter just kind of straight 200 feet, you should be able to par this hole.
You'll give
No
yourself a
problem at all.
putt for the birdie, but, I mean, par at worst. Only dangerous if you go chasing it. You put yourself out of position, but you try to be the hero, you're going to find yourself in this situation where you're going to be dropping a stroke. Thaddeus at probably 18 feet below the basket, putting straight back up at it. It's going to be a common thing to hear.
That valley is always thick with leaves, too, so you really have to kind of dig your feet down to find firm footing.
Oh, yeah. Foot will slip out while you're trying to putt. Leaves it a little bit am side and just falls right back out. And that's... Unfortunately, we're going to see both bogeys on the field happen on this card. And like I said, the only real danger, aside from kicking and being way out of position, is trying to chase down those strokes when you're just not quite in the right opportunity. Playing smart, knowing when to let one stroke go to save 3 or 4 down the line, so key, especially on this course. Hole 7 got another just a little over 200-foot hole. I'm saying this one's probably closer to 250 or 260.
It definitely feels a little bit longer.
Yeah, I definitely don't think this is 230.
It's the same shot shape, almost identical as the last hole, but the terrain is different.
Just a lot of different obstacles. The shape itself is almost, matching. It's just a little bit further, but the element of danger here is so much more. You sail past this.
You can see it right there. You can see the angle of approach on that green. All you have to do is touch the green the wrong way, and it's rolling 50 feet down the hill.
Yeah.
Johnny opting to stay on the safe side of the hill. I think he let that one go a little early.
Yeah. You can kind of hear him there say that he picked the right disc, he just didn't release it right. He had it, he was going to flip up, ride back, he early released. Played it real safe. He knew it out of the hand. He was square in that tree, and probably, It might not seem that way because he kicked up and left away from the hole, but fortunate. Because if it kicks
Still
right...
a little bit of forward carry there, too.
Well, if it kicks right, it's really got a chance of picking up and going down the hill further.
Especially at lefty.
Especially lefty.
This is that shot for your really trusty straight mids.
Yeah, that glidey putter, mid-range, something just to get down there. If you have something with a little bit of finish going to the right-hand side of that big tree, where it's going to finish back to the left, because the basket's pretty well in line with the tree. If you got something that's going to turn the whole way, we see Ian making pretty well the same mistake as Johnny. And they're going to be up here in this fallen tree up by the next hole's tee pad. Big, high, spiky forehand from Ryan.
Was so much danger through going through the canopy with that one.
Well, you seen what happened when it hit the ground. It picked up and looked like it was going to roll.
I don't know what he hit, but he was definitely fortunate to...
caught up against that big rock right by the basket. And that little tomahawk throw right there from Johnny is something that he's picked up after years of playing in these woods. Super reliable. Just kind of chip it up, get it over on its top. Uncharacteristic miss from Johnny there. Left it up and into the band. Let's see if Ian can clean up his par here. There we go. Now this one again, average par. Came in with one bogey and Thaddeus' birdie. Ryan cleaning up the par there. And then we'll move on to hole number 8. Hole 8's going to be one of the little more difficult holes on the course as far as par is concerned. Being one of only 6 to average over par. This one averaging about a half a stroke over. It's going to be very similar to hole 7, but just longer by a significant amount, probably about 100 foot longer. You want something straight with just a little bit of left to right movement, but finishing straight. Again, danger hillside of the right, danger going super long, danger kicking off of things.
For me, this is that Crave Frio, that 7.5 neg 1-1 shot, where it's just got just enough finish to stay flat after you throw a little ante on the release.
These guys here are going to be throwing mid-ranges at it, maybe a fairway driver. We've seen Thaddeus there throw, and it was an older buzz. It's an old glow buzz is what that one is. One of the skinny tooled ones from a while back. If you know your Discraft history, it's a good one. It's a reliable one for him. I think he just left it with a little too much hyzer, started a little too left. He actually sailed all the way over almost in the 9's fairway. It didn't touch anything. There is one branch that hangs down in that airspace, and it's an old broken branch.
And that was it.
That was it.
Pretty sure when I played this course a week earlier, I managed to find that same branch.
There have been a lot of people find that branch. It's going to be Buzz from Ian here. Flipping that one up the flat, letting it cruise. And that is exactly what you really want it to do.
That's that flat finish right there at the end so that it can just kind of skate straight towards the basket.
Yep. And this is Johnny's lightweight star strike. Like I said, not having a ton of power. It's going to try to get distance where he can. And disc selection is a big one there. So, opting up for that high-speed driver without putting a ton of power on it, being lightweight, it's going to get the carry. It's going to get the flight and the glide. Ryan with a beautiful shot. Terrible first kick. Beautiful second kick, leaving him close. And Johnny with a birdie putt here. just leaves it up, just lobs it just over the right-hand side of the basket. And that there was where Thaddeus ended up, and you couldn't see him. That's how far forward he ended up. It was pretty crazy. And now, unfortunately, he is going to have a really long uphill comeback just because the way that hill just carried his disc on down. So, after the out-of-place drive and the kind of overthrown approach shot, he'll two-putt for bogey. It's got a beautiful recovery shot from Ryan there. Good cleanup putt to save the par.
That's definitely the weak point of my game. Is anytime I'm further than about bullseye out. If I'm beyond 15 feet, it's definitely a tester putt.
Yeah, and especially whenever you get that pressure put on you from having to make a really good recovery shot to even give yourself the opportunity to save something.
The rim of that basket has just not been kind to this card so far.
No. That would have been for a stellar birdie. No birdies on the day on hole 8, unfortunately. Averaging half stroke over par. We'll move into the final hole of our front 9. I do believe shortest hole in the course. Definitely not the easiest. It's another one of those holes coming in at average par. Birdie here is extremely difficult, but by the same token, bogey is also kind of hard to get.
That little hump that the drone just picked up and over, it's only about 6 to 7 feet tall, but it is just right at the end of the disc flight, and you need it to hop right over top of that to land within that.
And this is so tight. Range. This gap to hit is crazy. And
the gap's all the way out close to the basket too. It's not like you're shooting a 10-foot gap 50 feet from the pin. It's 120 feet from the tee that you're throwing that basket, that gap.
Looks like Ian leaking a little left there, a little early. It's going to end up in this little ditch line just to the short left of the basket there. Now, I tried to find a spot to shoot from the tee here. There was nothing, so I had to end up going up. Johnny carrying over right beside Ian. I had to shoot this from essentially the catch cam position.
I've seen quite a few players here actually go with a tomahawk or a scuba shot just to try and drop it right between those trees at the end of the flight.
Mm-hmm. I've seen people try forehand roller just to bury itself into that bank in front of the basket and just try to make the long putt. Thaddeus leaked a little right, kissed something, ended up back
Same tree
left.
that Johnny hit.
Yeah. Dude, that tree has so many scars on it. But here's the thing. An early tree hit, as long as you carry forward, put yourself into the bank, you're going to have an opportunity for the putt. So birdie might not be the most common thing in the world here, but neither is bogey. You're just going to have a lot of pars. Johnny giving it that little lofty bid. Ian from right beside where he was. It's going to have a take two at the same putt. Similar miss. Those two are probably about the best opportunities we have for birdie on this hole. Ryan gave it the best bid, though. Puts it just right into the band. The only birdie on the day for this hole, Sam Cruz. Again.
Seems he can shine where others can't.
Yeah, he definitely can. Just a lot of pars here, and looks like we're going to be going into the back nine, kind of knotted up here. I think Johnny's starting to move ahead just a little bit. And seemingly just like that, we're halfway through this round 1 at the heart of the chains. Let's take a look at what our card ended up being able to do. Johnny coming in, shooting a 3 under. That unfortunate bogey there on 7, kind of taking him out of, not really taking him out of it, but, you know, kind of putting a little bit of a damper on things. This is a course that you really need to shoot clean for.
Well, speaking of clean, if you look at Ryan's card, you know, I mean, we're all knotted up, you know, within 2 strokes of each other, but his card doesn't have any of that.
Yeah,
that
he might not have the
color on
green.
it there.
He might not have the green, but he doesn't have any of the red. He's been putting himself in a position to maybe not make all the birdies, but he's not taking bogeys. And that's the big important thing here, is don't take bogeys. It seems a lot simpler than that, but, you know, it seems a little over simple, rather. However, it kind of is. And Thaddeus with a couple bogeys there, Ian with the singular bogey. But looking like that home field advantage is playing right to Johnny's, right to his advantage there.
Well, I mean, when you design the course, you kind of have a leg up on everybody to start with.
15 years experience on the course that you designed.
But still, even with that much experience, you still have to execute your plays.
Right. Yeah, so Johnny out there shooting a -3 currently with the leading the pack. Ryan and Thaddeus hanging right behind him by a stroke, -2. And Ian, Sam just hanging in there. Looks like Evan's not having the best day in the world on this front 9, but you can turn it around really quickly on this course. If you find yourself in a hot streak, you can really turn it around quick.
Well, Evan's also one of those players where if he gets to throw a little bit harder, he does execute better.
Oh, yeah.
So the tight technical stuff is a little bit harder for
especially on the
somebody
short
that's used to
stuff.
throwing further. Yeah.
No matter how this round goes, I'm looking for him to really pick it up over on Rotary, being able to kind of unload any. But before we get to Rotary, we're going to have to get through the back 9 on this course, and spoiler alert, there's more trees.
Well, there's more trees, and you're at the top of the ridge for the last 3 holes, and anything that's going to fly right is going to put you in a very dangerous territory.
Yep. Not to mention we're toward the top of the hill now, so we're going to be battling this wind for the rest of the round. So you'll hear it more here in a few minutes, but otherwise it's going to be more trees like we've been seeing, more technical shots, and seeing just how clean these guys can keep their cards and put themselves in a good position to get out and attack Rotary.
We'll see you guys for the back 9.